Okay, so yeah, let's start. I think that others, they will be notified later or they will join later. That's totally fine. So one more second, let me turn on my camera again. Yeah, so hi guys, where's my background? Okay, at least this one. Yeah, so yeah, my name is Stan and currently I'm working as an SDAT at Apple, and I am testing incorporate the application. Not the only one. I'm from recently. They somehow promoted me, and now I'm responsible for more than 3 or 4 applications. So my daily duty is to write the automation test cases, adjust the grid, and develop internal tools for the teams. So back in the days before that job, I worked as an ASDAT in San Francisco. My company's name was Climate Corporation, and over there I worked also as an ASDAT, and I was responsible for more than 20 applications. We were developing different products for the customers. Our customers were mostly farmers, and we sold them the data. For example, if you are working with fertilizers or some crops, or you are trying to get a lot of corns or whatever, we sold them the strategy, how to water the plants, what kind of the fertilizers you should use in order to get the better result in the end. So over there, I worked a lot of with maps and our application, and that application was pretty hard, to be honest. But yeah, so eventually I just found another job. So before that, I worked a little bit at Google, and over there, I started as a manual key. So this is actually it about me. Maybe Sergey, can you introduce yourself and give students a small overview?
Yeah, hello everyone. My introduction usually is shorter than Stan's. So I am software developer, and currently I'm working in Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. So in tech start dev, I'm teacher of front-end development, and yeah, if you will take this course, we will meet and we'll meet closer. Yeah. So before Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, I was working in Microsoft and in California state company. So yeah, but today I'm just Stan's assistant. So I will read your question in voice chat if you will write something in chat, yeah, in regular chat. So yeah, that's it. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Sergey. So I see that we do not have a lot of people over there, but so I suggest before we start, let's make a quick roundtable. You have to unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and tell me what your goals are. Okay, so let's start with Elena. Elena, are you here? Okay, give you some time, maybe Tatiana.
Is it me, Tatiana?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, my goal to become QA engineer.
Okay, good.
Manual for beginning, probably automation in the future, and is that like you?
Okay, cool. Sounds like a good
in 2 years.
That's possible. That's possible. Trust me. I started from the manual one, and then now I'm doing my current job, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that if you put all your hard work and all your effort, you will achieve your goals. Thank you very much.
I will try. Thank you.
Thank you. So
I'll say more. So, probably 70 or 80% of IT market started from just simple IT courses, not from some bachelor on master's degree. So yeah, everything is possible.
Yeah. Because to be honest with you guys, there is no, if I'm not mistaken, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, you cannot just graduate the QA, I don't know, QA specialist in the university or the college, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So thank you very much, Tatiana. Michael, how are you doing?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I actually just started a manual QA job, but I don't really know how to do it. My company just kind of let me take on the role, and so I'm sort of retroactively looking for a boot camp to learn to get better at manual QA, and then eventually, hopefully, learn QA automation.
Cool. Thank you very much, Michael. So, Pavel?
Yeah, hello guys, nice to meet you. Well, about me, I'm from Ukraine. I want to change my life. I just start learning, but I think it's interesting and I like it. So I hope all of us will be found a new job.
Cool. Thank you very much, Pavel. So the next person will be Roman.
Hi there, my name is Roman. I have some experience with manual testing. My main goal probably that. I finished a little bit course by Python, and right now I'm trying Java because I need to know what I need to use in the future, Python or Java in the information.
Cool.
That's it.
Cool. Thank you very much, Roman.
Here you will get also JavaScript, definitely, and you will have full set, you know, Java, JavaScript, Python.
Yeah. Marina, you here? Could you please unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you doing?
Cannot complain. Thank you.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, you know, I just don't want to start my class with, you know, with JavaScript, you know, right ahead. So I would like to talk to you a little bit before we start. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
So yeah, what bothers you?
Most of all, English, because I joined for this course because I want to speak English lessons, and I want to try to develop my English. And I finished other course in past, and I little know JavaScript and what is QA, but it several months I didn't do anything, and it's for me it's opportunity to restart.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You will be prepared student.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. So currently, actually, to be honest with you, Marina, I have one student who he knows JavaScript and his understanding of QA is perfect, but he has some, as he says, some English problems. And that is why he has chosen our courses, because we teach in English, or at least trying to. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
Thank
Marina.
you.
Yeah, so the next person will be Valeria. You're muted.
Oh, okay. It's me. Okay. My name is Valerie, so I'm interested in starting manual QA and see if I'm good in it, and and then progress to automotive, and then maybe to a web developer. So hopefully this course will help me to learn a new profession.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank
A
you.
good target. Yeah.
Yeah. You have actually a good straightforward. I start with manual, then I do the key automation, and then I'm gonna be eventually a front-end developer, right?
Right.
Yeah, sounds like sounds like a good plan. Why not? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Victoria.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Victoria.
I'm at the beginning of the road here. This is going to be my third lesson ever. And I like it so far. And thank you for this opportunity to be here and to learn something new.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Sorry for waiting, Vlad. You are the last one. So please unmute yourself.
Yes, I mean. Hi, everyone. My name is Vlad. I'm living in the USA only 2 years. I more time from Ukrainian, a long time programmer, enterprise developer. And now when I moved to USA, I want to change my language because I believe it's a good ways because 1C is not popular in this area. I choose an JavaScript, React for learning, and I have a mean and think about need learn manual testing, QA testing, and step by step go to web development, front and back end, and mobile development using React.
Okay, everything in your hands. So if you have some maybe React related questions, here is Sergey, and feel free to reach him out. He will gladly answer all your questions.
Yeah, good choice, by the way, because React now is most popular area in HC, I believe. Maybe not in web development, yeah. So yeah.
Cool. So after that intro, and I forgot to mention that one, Valerie, right? You said that you want to start. Oh, was it Victoria? Sorry, sorry if I, if I'm wrong. So some of you said that this is one of your first steps in this IT field, and before we start my course or JavaScript basics course, this course is for beginners. That means that we assume that you are not familiar with JavaScript at all. You do not have any IT background. You work maybe in some different field and something happened and you decided, okay, now I want to try something new. And this is actually the point where I can say that this course was invented for beginners. Okay, before we start, actually, that's very important. Okay, so we're done with the introduction and let's start our course. So you can turn off your cameras if you want, because I'm going to turn my camera because I'm too shy, my concentration, just, goes away. Okay, so let me start, and I'm going to share my screen real quick in just a second. Just one more second, guys. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. So are you able to see my screen? Sergey, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's talk. Today, we're gonna talk about variables and data types in JavaScript. Why do we want to start with these two topics? From my point of view, variables and the data types, this is the beginning, and this will be your first step in learning JavaScript. And what you have to know about JavaScript. JavaScript has a dynamically typed language, or in other words, we create variables And then in the process, we decide which data type this variable will be. So in JavaScript, we do not need to specify the data type of the variable if we compare it to another languages like Java or Python. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create or declare 3 variables. And the first one will be, or in other words, how to create a variable, or what is a variable actually. Let me say that the variable is just a container, a specific storage which can contain inside of it the data, any kind of the data. That is why, or what is a variable. So I'm going to create a variable. How to create a variable. The very first thing that you might need during the creation of a variable is a keyword. And the first keyword will be const. Const, and then after the keyword, you have to specify the name of your variable. So I will put, for example, const variable. And for those who is not familiar with this website, you can enter it, Google it, and here you go. You should be navigating to this specific website. Make sure that you enable only JavaScript and console. And if you would like, you can repeat after me. So if you cannot repeat, that's totally fine. After the video or after this lecture, you will get a link for today's lecture where you can just repeat all the steps. So we good. So after the name of your variable in this blue color, this is the name of my variable. After it, I can assign a value to it. How to assign a value to the variable? To do that, I have to use equal sign. So after equal sign, I have to specify or give it a value. So the value will be a string. So how to announce a string? String is just a textual data which is enclosed in quotes. So it might be single quotes, just like what you see on my screen right now, or it can be double quotes. Either or should work. So, and in each company, you know, has its own vision, let's say so. And in my company or in the place where I work right now, we do use mostly, I don't know, we use single quotes. And before that, we use double quotes. So basically, it depends from on where do you work. So either single or double quotes if you're working with string. So what, and let me give some value to inside of my string. It will be, for example, const keyword to define a variable that can be reassigned. For example, I gave some value to it. So once again, we have a keyword. After the keyword, we have a name of our variable, which is const variable in this case. Then we have an equal sign. An equal sign in JavaScript means that we want to assign something to the variable const variable. And this is actually our value. And the value itself is a string. Why? Because it's enclosed in single quotes and it has some textual data inside of it. So we're good with this one. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. If not, Sergey, feel free to interrupt me and I'll stop and repeat something. Okay. The second keyword will be let. You can also, there is another way on how to create a variable or how to create a variable, use a keyword let. So for example, in this case, it will be, for example, let variable. And then let me assign some value to it. For example, defines variable with restricted scope. You will learn about scope later on my course, but just for right now, just you have to accept this information. So defines a variable which restricted scope. So once again, we have a keyword let. After the let, we have the name of our variable, which is let variable. Then we have an equal sign, and after equal sign, we have a string again because it's enclosed in single quotes, and we have some textual data inside of it. And the last but not least will be war. So war variable, and then let me give some value inside of it. So works same as let, and can be seen in all so var is almost not used, and before let was introduced, everybody used war. So nowadays, if we are talking about the latest or the modern JavaScript, if you want to create a variable, you have actually two keywords. One of them is let, and the second one is const. War probably is not used anymore. I haven't seen it for a while. So, so do you have questions before we proceed? If no, let's talk about the naming, or let's talk about the general rules for creating the variables. What are they? So, for example, general. So what are they? So rule number one, names contain letters, digits, underscores, and dollar signs. So if I want to create a variable, my variable can contain letters, digits, maybe underscores, and of course dollar signs. That's very important. So rule number two, that names must begin with letter, or let's say with underscore. For those who are not familiar with underscore, this is underscore, or with letter, sorry, mistake over here, with letter underscore or dollar sign. Okay, we're good with this one. And then what else we can do? We can say names are case sensitive. A and, for example, A capital are different variables. Good. And what else we can say? That in JavaScript, you can or reserve the words like maybe key, for example, cannot be used as names. So if you want to create a variable, let's say I want to name my variable let, right? So JavaScript won't allow me to create a variable with such a name, because if you see there is it's highlighted and it says that let is a reserved word. So if you want to get familiar with the reserved words, I strongly suggest you to Google them. So it's quite easy. Reserved words in JavaScript. So reserved words, and this is actually the whole list of reserved words for the naming. So try not to use them if you are creating the variables. So I have a question for you guys. What happens if we change the variable value of our first variable, which is const variable? Can we do this? Or what's the difference between this guy and this guy? So let's say that I want to, for example, say that I'm going to assign a new value to my variable, and that value will be, for example, 1, 2, 3, for example, right? And then I want to see the result, console log. If I want to see my result, or for example, I made some sort of the operation, and later on I want to see the result, all I have to do is just to call the console log in most of the cases. So for example, what is the value of the variable, and then before I press something, you have to know one more thing, that in JavaScript, the code is being executed from left to right, up and down. So just as the normal reading. So now we know what console log is, because and the right window, if you have noticed, this is my console. So the result will be displayed over here once I hit run button. So you have a question over here. For example, what is the value of the variable let variable? Before that, it was this text defined a variable with restricted scope. Now I reassign the value, or I assign the new value to my variable let variable. And once I use the console log, now I know that the new value is 1, 2, 3. So my question is, can I do the same operation for the const variable? Let's try this out. For example, const, and then it will be, the new value will be 1. I forgot to put the name, and then I'm going to console log the result.
Anyone, you can write your answers in the chat.
Yeah, so if you have noticed, this website, or in our case, JSBin said that this is a syntax error, and the const variable, actually, this variable has already been declared. That means that I am not allowed to change the value of const variable. So why do we need to use it? So imagine that you are working with some sort of the data, and some of the data, they have to be constant during the whole, I don't know, your manipulations or calculations or whatever. So to make sure that your data won't be changing, its value won't be changing, you can create a variable const and then assign to it. So good. Do you have questions? No? No. Okay. Good, good, good.
I have questions.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
The JavaScript is compile or program, does not run string by string.
I didn't get your question exactly.
No, we write a program. Again, use const variable.
Yes.
If we have an error in our text, we cannot run for previous parts of file.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes.
Is Java control all text in file for have a bin or error? Yes.
Yeah. So the deal is, if you have noticed, this operation right here, when I assign the new value to my to our variable let variable, you see 1, 2, 3, I assign the new value to the variable let variable, and then after that I use console log. And if you have noticed, this is actually what we see in our console log. But later on, you know, on this line, let's say on line number 2, I made a mistake or I made an error, and that is why our console log, instead of displaying this message, it shows us an error, assignment to const variable, which is actually not allowed. That is why. So back to your question, if you have a mistake in your code, your program will be executed before the error, and that's it. Good.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, we're done with this one. And let me introduce you the third method, or method type of A, or it can be used as type of A. Basically, it means the same thing, but I prefer the second variant over the first one. Either or should work. So let's have a look on the data type of the each variable in our cases. For example, if I want to find out what's the data type of the variable const variable, what I should do, I should console log it. So I type console log, and then inside of it, I specify, for example, type of const variable is, I do like errors. They help me error a lot, type of, and then I have to specify the variable. So as you can see, it shows the string because it's the data type is enclosed in quotes, and as you can see, it's some textual data, or it can be whatever, but the main point, it has to be enclosed in strings, either in single quotes or the double quotes. Let's console log other two variables just to make sure that we are on the right page. And then I'm going to just copy and paste these guys. Let variable and var variable. Okay, good. So in all three cases, it shows that this is a string. Why? As I said, it's enclosed in single quotes. And now we slowly move to the topic where we can talk about the data types in JavaScript, or how many data types are in the JavaScript. So let me write it down for you guys. So what you have to know, there are 8 main data data types in JavaScript. So let's start with number one, actually. And the very first one will be a string. So string, as I said, is used to represent textual data. The value should be enclosed in single double. That's it. Let me create a simple example for you. For example, let first name will be Stan, and then I'm going to console log it. Console log first. Guys, if you are not talking, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. Good. Okay, let's run it. The first name is Dan, and after that, what else we can do? We can console log what's the data type of the variable first name. So in this case, this will be type of. After this keyword type of, you have to specify the name of your variable. So in our case, will be first name. And let's console log it again. So it's a string. Let me comment this section. So comment actually in the code helps you to hide that specific piece of the code from the executor, let's say so. In other words, that piece of code will be skipped. So if I hit the run button, you will see that I console log the first name, and then after that, I just was curious what kind of the data type of my variable was my variable first name. So we done with this first data type. The second one is number, is used to represent numeric data, or let's say infinity, minus infinity, and none. And what else you should know about numbers? Numbers can be written with or without decimals. That's very important. So now let's talk about the numbers. I'm creating the variable. For example, let age, for example, will be 20. Then after that, let's special value, for example, 1 will be infinity. And then after that, let me just copy this guy over here, paste it right here. Then special value 2 will be, for example, minus infinity. And then maybe something else. And then, and the last but not least, will be, for example, none. None actually stands for not a number, but the data type of none is also number. So let me console log, console log, for example, what's the data type? For example, let's have a look on this guy. age and age. Yeah. Once you finish typing with each line of the code, you may put semicolon. It's a good practice to leave semicolon. Infinity is not defined. Where I have infinity.
You write infinity on no infinity.
Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good catch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so as you can see, the data type of my age is number. What if I, for example, use infinity and click on the run button? As you can see, it's also a number. Thus, I some sort of the proof that the data type of infinity is also a number. And let's try with none as well. So with none, it's also a number. Okay, we're done with this part. Let's slightly move to the guy to the next guy, which will be a Boolean. Boolean is kind of straightforward. What you have to know about it, or why are people actually using the Boolean in JavaScript? Sometimes you might come across a situation when you need the result either true or false, turn on or turn off, give money or do not give the money, so and so on and so basically if you need either true or false, and can be either, let's say, true or false. So now let's have a look on the Boolean. I'm creating a variable which will be, for example, good specialist, and I'm going to assign a value to it, for example, true. Yes. And then I'm going to create another variable, for example, bad specialist. And then if I want to keep the same meaning, like if I want to stay as a good specialist, I can say false, so that I am not a bad specialist. Basically, it means the same. And let's have a look on the type of bad. So what I can do, I can simply copy this part and paste it right here. So let's have a look on the good specialist, for example. And as you can see, console log says that the data type is Boolean. Good. So now let's move to the next thing, which is actually null. Nothing. This means nothing, or empty object. Okay. What can we do? We can, for example, create a variable which will be, for example, give some name to it, for example, broke, and then it will be null. So after that, let's have a look on our console log. And it says object. And yeah, from now on, let's not focus on this one. You have to just understand that there are like 8 data types, and we will talk more about it during my course. But for the basic understanding, that if you have a nothing, or it can be empty object, if you would like to know about the type of, of the null, then your console log will show you object. Good. Or Sergey, do you want to add something to it?
Yeah, if nobody asks, so I have one more question. You told us in the beginning that JavaScript has dynamic variables. That means we can declare it, but not assign some variable. So
Yes.
what if we will declare some variable, but will not assign any value there? So what happens?
So in that case, it will have a value, but that value will be undefined. And this is actually one of the guys that I will be talking later today, maybe in 2 points.
Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. Good, good, good. So if we good on this one, let's go to the number 5, and the number 5 will be one of the interesting things, and it will be, for example, object. This is the place for storing more complex data. So as for the object, as I will talk more about the objects during my course, but for the basic understanding how the object looks like, let me just create a simple object. For example, let a scheme, for example, and then this is the name of my variable, which is scheme, and then I want to assign an object, not a variable. If you have noticed, I have put curly braces inside of it, and now let me fill my object scheme with some, for example, values. And the first, and what is the value of the object? Object is consisted of the pair, the key, and its value. So the key, for example, will be the word HTML. So after your key, you have to specify the value, what the value will be. For example, in this case, it will be scheme.html file, for example, just random files in my folder. Then I want to specify CSS, another key value pair, key is CSS, and then the value, for example, scheme.css. After that, for example, JS, and let me give it some value, for example, scheme.js file. So if what happens if I console log it? So so in this case, it says that it is an object. Yes. So what defines object? It should be enclosed in curly braces, and it should have a pair inside of it. So key value pair. This is a key, this is a value. Key value, key value. Why do we actually need them? Imagine, or right now, if we are using the variable, if you have noticed, each of the variable contains only one value. But imagine that you have or you may need a container, some unique container that will contain more than one value at the same time. So, and for those kind of the purposes, you may use objects. So I will get you familiar with during my course, and I will give you a better understanding, or I will teach you how to work with objects. But for today, just for the introduction, all you have to know is just it's enclosed in curly braces, and it has it consists of the pair, key value pair. So let's go to the next guy. So the next guy will be guy number 6, under number 6, undefined. This is a variable without a value. Has the value undefined. And as Sergey said, for instance, I'm creating creating a variable, for example, undefined variable, and that's it. This variable right now, it doesn't have a value. And on the next line, for example, let B, this variable will have undefined value. So basically, let me console log it. Okay, like this, put it right here, put it right here, this, and this, and one more time. Oh, it will be just B, way easier. So if I click on the run button, in both cases, it will show me undefined. So what does undefined mean? Undefined means that I'm creating a variable, and if this variable doesn't have a value assigned, so in this case, that its value will be undefined by default, and you guys have to remember it. So in other cases, I may also create a variable using the let keyword, for example, then the name of my variable, and I can assign a value undefined to it. So basically, if I try to console log the data type of the first variable and the second one, in the both cases, they will show me the same result. So that's it. And what else I can say? There are two more data types there that are present in the JavaScript, but they can be skipped. So what are they? And the first one will be symbol, and the second one will be big int. So now we can say that in JavaScript, there are 8 main data types. The first one is string. This guy is used to represent the textual data. Textual data should be enclosed in single or in double quotes. Then we have a number that is, this guy is used to represent a numeric data or infinity or minus infinity or a none. Then we have a Boolean that can be either true or false, null, object, undefined, and two more, symbol and big int. Let me tell you about something about symbol and big int. I've heard about those guys to be, and I haven't worked with them. And during the interview, if your interviewer will ask you how many data types are in the JavaScript, you may simply say 8, and then name them, for example, string, number, Boolean, undefined object, and you know that symbol and big int. And I think that in 90% your interviewer himself or herself, he or she doesn't know about symbol or big int because you barely can work with it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sergey. Have you ever worked with symbol or big int?
No, on real job, I haven't worked with it. Maybe in some training task, I used big int 1 or 2 times, but
usually no.
I haven't. Yeah, usually no.
Yeah, so that is why let's keep those two guys and make a small rewind of today's class. If you want to create a variable, you have to use a const or let keywords. What are the general rules for the creating the variables? Names contain letters, digits, underscores, and $signs. Names must begin with letter, underscore, or $sign. Names are case sensitive. That means that lowercase a and capital case A are different variables. There are reserved words like key, let, const, and so on and so on that cannot be used as names. Then later on, we got familiar with that method type of, or the type of, and basically the same thing. And that method helps us to find out what the kind of the data type, for example, right now you're working with. So in the first case, it was a string, then it was number, then Boolean, true or false, then a null, object, and undefined. And this is it for today, guys. Do you have any questions? If no, so thank you everybody for attending my class, and hopefully I will see you on our next lecture, where I will talking about the functions, how they behave, how they work, why the people are using them, and we will go through simple examples during that class. As for your homework, I strongly recommend you to read about the variables and the data types in the JavaScript. And this specific file, this specific JS bin, will be shared in our announcement channels. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for attending my class, and I'll see you later. Bye.